Hey everybody, I'm Adam, and today I'm going to show you how to build a router dust collection box out of acrylic. So for my box around the router, I'm going to be using these acrylic sheets. They're approximately 1/4 inch thick. I'm just going to cut these 12 by 12. I know that's not going to work out to a 12-inch square box exactly. That's fine, but that's all I can get out of these sheets. So that's what I'm going to do. These acrylic sheets are about 24 1/16 by 18 inches, so that allows me to easily get my 12 by 12 pieces out. This is the first time I've used one of these plastic cutting knives, and I'm sure somebody's screaming at the screen that normally uses these and can tell me what I'm doing wrong, but man, what a satisfying sound they make. It reminds me of something. What is it? Ah, yes, there we go. Nice. So I clamped down my T-square so that while I was scoring this, my straight edge didn't slide all over the place and I ruined the piece of acrylic. Basically what you want to do with one of these knives is score halfway through the thickness of the acrylic, and then once you do that, you can pop it like a piece of glass. What I found worked best was after getting about 1/4 of the way through, getting a few good lines, was to take it off the clamp, and then I could more easily pull it in my direction and finish the scoring process. Bingo! Now there's just the protective plastic on the other side holding it. And I just went ahead and finished the rest of the pieces. After cutting all my pieces, I just pulled the protective plastic back a little bit to get it ready to glue up. I'm just test fitting to make sure everything lines up pretty good because, yeah, I'm a little nervous because did I mention I've actually never done this before? I'm going to use weld-on to glue these together, and this stuff's pretty cool. Basically what it's doing is melting the acrylic to itself. After holding it to itself for a few minutes, the bond is pretty good, and you can let it go and start moving around and get the other sides done. To help me align everything and keep it straight, I use these quick clamps. So I couldn't find a flange. Nothing was available as quick as I wanted it to put at the bottom of this box. So I'm just going to use this PVC fitting, and I'm going to cut this piece off right here. But I want to be able to use one of my 2.5 inch fittings to go in here. And as you can see, these don't line up. So what I'm going to do is use my heat gun, and I'm going to expand this PVC, and then it's going to fit perfectly. If you've ever tried to mix and match pieces to make your own dust collection system, sometimes it can be a nightmare, and this can be a real lifesaver. Now, I've seen people do this by putting the PVC in their oven, and yeah, I just wasn't going to try that. I don't think I'd trust eating my food out of there then. Check it out! I marked the center of the bottom of the box so that I'd know where to line up my new flange. Then after drawing it, I found an appropriately sized hole saw to cut it out. And this is the point where after putting all of this work in, I'm thinking, please don't break. Please don't break. Please. Oh! It broke. No, it didn't break. Never mind. We're good. We're good. Then I just sanded the corners, and I'm using some CA glue and activator. Time for the door. I found these acrylic hinges on Amazon, and I'll put links in the description for everything I used in this video. But this was the simplest way. I can use the weld-on to attach the hinges, and man, nice shot of my hand there. After attaching the hinges to the door, I just flipped the box over and welded the hinges to the side of my box. So to keep my door closed, I'm going to be using these neodymium magnets to keep the door shut because they're really small and really strong. Who knew Neil Diamond made magnets? So I cut 2 acrylic tabs. One will be for the top of the door and one for the bottom. The way these will work is I'm going to glue a neodymium magnet onto each tab and then a magnet onto the door in the corresponding location. I just put a drop of CA glue and then hit it with the activator. Same thing for the other one. Now to make sure I lined everything up properly, I just hit the back of the door with the activator and then I put some CA glue on the corresponding magnet. You can see I've got both magnets here. Then I was just able to line it up perfectly, and then after holding it there for a minute, it was in the perfect location. Same thing for the other side. So at this point, the tabs aren't actually glued, it's just the magnet holding the tabs in place. So I went back with the weld on and attached the tabs. Because I used a PVC fitting for my flange, it left a small gap that I went back and filled with silicone. Okay, let's go in for a test fit. So this cord's not really going to come through here, obviously, but for my test fit, sweet, pretty cool. Let's see here. Well, that sucks. Are you serious right now? Are you for real? Not cool, table. I gotta figure out somehow my door is hitting the frame. I was just gonna screw this up in here, but thinking maybe if I make it where I can slide it back and open it at the same time, I can make it work. So the plan now is to make some wooden slides that will attach to the bottom of the router table and to the top of my router box. I'm just using some scrap 3/4 and 1/2 inch pieces of plywood that I had. So basically I'm making 2 sides that are basically S-shaped. This will be the piece that attaches to the bottom of the router table. This other piece of 3/4 inch will attach to the side of the box, This other piece will attach to the side of the box, and that's what will allow it to slide. I pre-drilled holes through the acrylic and through the plywood, and then slid the acrylic up and drilled a larger hole so that the screw didn't crack my acrylic. And of course I put these in by hand, so again, I wouldn't break the acrylic after all this work. Time to drill another hole, no pressure here. This is for the cord to the router. This is my next discovery. Since this wasn't the original plan, my hinges are in the way. No problem, I'll just take my slide, pass it through the table saw, and problem solved. I got up underneath my workbench and the router table to see how everything fit. and I wanted to find out where other pieces would interfere. I marked all this out, and the plan was to just install it from underneath. At which point my dad came over and was like, "That's kind of dumb. Why don't you just pull everything out and flip it over?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna do that. It's just easier to attach it from underneath." Then he left. Then I took it out, flipped it over, and attached it from above. After attaching the first side, I'm just sliding it to make sure everything slides smoothly and attaching the second side. I drilled a hole on one side of the slide, which will be the outside, and that's where I'll put one screw that will act as my stop to keep the box from moving. When I need the box to slide, I'll have easy access to this one screw. Once everything was attached, it was time to put it into my workbench, and yeah, it's a pretty tight fit. Sweet! It's actually a relief to have this all finally in because, as I said earlier, this is the first time I've ever messed with acrylic on this level. I've used it before, but usually in like a wooden frame. So I was very nervous that after having so much work put into this, that I would crack it at some point.
Lovely, lovely. I like it a lot. Sweet. My door won't open, oh no. So then, all I've got to do is take out this one screw. And then slide it back and open the door. Crikey! And then just that one screw, which is easy to get to. And now we're there. And then once I get the whole dust collection system set up, that'll connect there, and I'll have a splitter which will go to the top to my router fence. So I'm really thrilled with this. Basically I can see everything. Have I said I'm thrilled with it? Have I said I'm thrilled with it? Because I am. You know, originally I was going to build this out of wood, and if it was out of wood I wouldn't know what was, you know, if dust was piled up in here or what. And the opening for the cord basically will give ventilation for the router. So I'm pretty thrilled with it. Guys, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so that you never miss a new video. Also, please check out some of my other videos. If you have any suggestions or any thoughts, please leave those in the comments below.
Some folks call it a dust bucket. I call it a dust box.